Hello, boys and girls. Greg here from the Scary Spirits podcast, here to make you another cocktail. Today I will be making a Bloody Mary for you, which is the feature drink in today's episode. We're going to start with a shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add 1.5 ounces of vodka. Next, 5 ounces of tomato juice. I'm using V8 because I'm healthy like that. Next, 4 dashes of hot sauce. There we go. Next, Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to use 1/3 of an ounce, which is the equivalent of 2 teaspoons. One-third of an ounce lemon juice from the plastic lemon. Third of an ounce. Next, we're going to need a pinch of ground black pepper. Just a pinch. There you go. Next, a pinch of garlic powder. Like that. And next, I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Just a pinch. Next, we stir all that up. I must confess, I've never had a Bloody Mary. Not really a fan of tomato juice for some reason. Like tomato soup? Don't know, we'll see. Next, we're going to pour that into a highball glass. I have a highball glass with ice. I'm going to strain it in there. All right, here we go. The moment of truth, boys and girls. Smells tomatoey. Yeah, a little spicy. I don't hate it. There you go. A Bloody Mary, boys and girls. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Some things get better with age. Whiskey, wine, some cheeses, even leather boots. That's my favorite. But some things don't age well. Not even a little bit. This week's movie on the Scary Spirits podcast, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, is one of those things. Some people describe this movie as so bad it's good, and this might be so, for some people. But we can honestly say, and almost guarantee, that this week's podcast is even better than the movie. We know the cocktail is. Drink up. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Of course, it's what we do.
It is what we do. So, Karen, I don't think we have any corrections that I can think of. Can you?
No.
No business we need to cover before we get into the film this week?
I don't think so.
All right. So this week's film, I believe, was your choice. Was it, Karen, or was it not?
It was my choice.
Yes. Yes, it was, Karen. Yes, I'm going to give you shit all night long. So what film have you chosen for
I
us
chose.
tonight, Karen? What spectacular feature presentation did we watch?
We suffered through Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
And why did you choose this film, Karen? Any reason?
Well, I was just looking for something that was fun. And I thought it would be fun and funny and lighthearted and, not so. I thought last week's was a little intense. The bucket of blood. Well, just the bullying and the trying to fit in and, the whole fame thing. I just thought, hey, let's do something goofy.
Okay. That's what you thought, right?
That's what I thought. Yes.
Well, I don't want to get into it until the end, but
Ooh, can't wait.
yeah, I'll save my comments until then. I'll try to. Do we have a
Well,
cocktail for this film, Karen?
You can talk about them as we go through the
No, because
movie.
I don't want to give my final my final thought on the movie is, whether I thought it sucked or not at the very beginning.
No, as we go through, you can say what you
Yes.
didn't.
Yes, I will, Karen.
I think that the listeners already kind of have a sense of what you think of the movie.
Well, our listeners, they've probably seen it. Maybe not. I've never seen it.
I'd never seen it either, which is another reason I chose it. But yes, we do have a cocktail.
What cocktail have you chosen, Karen?
Surprise, surprise. I chose the Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. Do you have a recipe for us?
Yeah, I put 6 ounces of Collins Brothers Bloody Mary mix in a glass and added 3 ounces of vodka.
Wow, 3 ounces.
Yeah.
That's twice as much vodka as I put in mine. I did not have a Bloody Mary mix, Karen. I had to make my own. I had to look up a recipe and make my own.
Is that what you did on YouTube?
Yes,
recipe?
it is. My recipe.
Greg's special Bloody Mary mix will be on YouTube. He does all the drinks every week on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out.
Yes, my Bloody Mary mix included 5 ounces of V8 juice.
Tomato juice, yeah.
V8,
they make a lot of
V8. I used V8 juice. This is my recipe. It's V8 juice.
But there's a lot of different V8 juices now. You use the traditional one from 2015.
No, actually, it was low sodium V8 juice, because we're healthy like that in our house, Karen. Then 4 dashes of hot sauce.
That's a lot.
Especially my dashes. Yes, they were quite a bit.
It's probably zippy.
1/3 ounce Worcestershire sauce.
1/3 ounce lemon juice from the plastic lemon,
Awesome.
a pinch of ground black pepper, pinch of garlic powder, and a pinch of salt.
And you mixed it all together?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
With only 1.5 ounces of vodka, Karen. So you have twice as much vodka in your drink than I do.
Woohoo.
I feel cheated.
Well, we'll see by the end how that plays out for us.
Well, I have lots of other beverages to keep me company. So along with my Bloody Mary. And the recipe did call for a lemon, wedge, and a stick of celery, but I ain't doing that shit.
I didn't have celery. I wonder if that makes any difference.
I can't imagine. It just use it to stir it or some shit, I would imagine.
Oh, maybe it starts to settle in the bottom.
Could be. That was how I made mine, my Bloody Mary. My first Bloody Mary, Karen. I'm a Bloody Mary virgin.
Excellent.
Not anymore, though.
We'll get to hear your opinion on that at the end, too, I'm sure.
Yes, we will.
Can't
Yes,
wait.
We will. Yeah, I'm going to be very opinionated today, I think.
So I noticed you didn't say enjoy at the
I did
end.
not say enjoy.
So
No, I didn't.
I have a clue.
It was not in my instructions. Whatever I downloaded. How to make did not include enjoy. It said just pour everything into a mixing glass with ice and stir and serve. It didn't even say serve. Pour into a highball glass. That's it.
Well, I like it. Go ahead and tell everybody to gather their ingredients, whether it's a mix or your special Bloody Mary recipe.
Or find your own. Make your own. I'm sure there's a shitload
there's a
of them
lot
out
of them.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, I picked this one because I like spicy shit, and I had all these ingredients, and I'm like, yep, I'm gonna make that.
Excellent.
But you do you. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are. So before we go any further, I actually have some information on the Bloody Mary drink.
Ooh.
I know you're excited.
Do tell.
So just about the name, the Bloody Mary. Many people believe it was named after Queen Mary Tudor.
That's what I was going to say, Karen.
Yeah. And her bloody reign against Protestants in England in the 1500s.
Well, she's like bathed in blood, didn't she?
So they say that the tomato juice
That's
represents...
how she kept her soft and complexion and stuff,
no,
right?
that wasn't her. She didn't bathe in the blood of virgins. That was someone else.
Okay.
They
Go
think
on.
that the tomato juice represents the bloodshed during this time, and the fiery vodka illustrates Queen Mary Tudor's wicked means of executing her enemies. But that's not all I have about the Bloody Mary.
There's more?
There's more.
But wait,
So-
there's more.
I know. If you order now, you get an extra Ginsu knife. For those of you who might be curious of what the best hangover cure is on the internet, if you search it up, guess what comes up?
Bloody Mary.
The Bloody Mary.
It's almost like hair of the dog thing, right?
Here's
I
what it
imagine,
says.
especially if you use like the spicy one like I did, I could see this curing a hangover.
It says Bloody Marys contain the essential ingredients to battling the toughest morning after a long night of drinking. So here's how it works.
Well,
Tomato.
Are you
Go
going
ahead.
to tell me what kind of vitamins and minerals are in tomatoes?
Yep.
Okay, go on.
Tomato juice has a high concentration of the antioxidant lycopene, which helps to fight toxins found in your liver. You should probably be drinking tomato juice.
I think it's good for like your prostate and shit too, isn't it?
I know it's good.
Lycopene?
It's good for your heart. I know.
Okay.
I think, anyway. It also contains key vitamins, including vitamin C. Worcestershire sauce is loaded with vitamin B6 and vitamin B3,
I put that in my drink, Karen.
which help your body convert carbs and fats into energy and further assist your liver in breaking down toxins. Lastly, lemon juice soothes your digestive
Ooh,
tract
Karen, I had lemon juice in mine.
and contains acids that cause your body to process healthy nutrients more slowly. While we hate to admit it, for the most efficient hangover cure, skip the booze. Not only will your body recover faster, but you will be able to sip on a low-calorie cocktails all morning without feeling any guilt.
Well, it's like
So less
a
hair of the
third
dog.
booze.
Yeah.
It's like a third vodka or something, right?
Yeah. Well, they're just saying the real hangover cure is the tomato juice, the Worcestershire sauce, and the lemon. I mean, if you're really needing it, you could throw in the vodka, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
I don't think they are saying a virgin Bloody Mary was the best, are they?
Yeah, they are. That's why they said skip the alcohol.
Oh, okay.
It's just a good for you drink. The only thing I think it's high in is sodium, except in your house where you have low sodium tomato juice.
I did add salt.
Right. So I think that's kind of, but you may need that too after a night of drinking. So,
True.
you know.
True that. And on every cooking show I watch, they always say, needs more salt.
I always say that.
All right. Might you have a brief synopsis of this fucking wonderful film, Karen?
Why'd you even say wonderful in there? Yeah, I got one. In a spoof of low-budget sci-fi films, oozing tomatoes go on the rampage, splattering innocent victims. That's all I got.
Thank you, Karen.
That's all it deserves.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief synopsis. All right. Are you ready?
Should I apologize now or later? Or both?
I mean, I would assume we had to do it at some point.
It is one of those that I think we should have seen. There is one discrepancy, and I'm pretty sure I was wrong last week when I said it was 1977. But that's what Amazon had. And it turns out it's 1978. Is that correct?
Well, Karen, if you watch the film all the way to the end, during the credits, it does say copyright 1977, but it was released in 1978.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if that was a mistake on my part because I saw both dates.
Yeah, which makes sense because it was released in October of 78, but it was filmed in 77. Same time as Star Wars, Karen.
One of those was a little better.
Was it? A little, just a little. All right, Karen, are you ready?
We're going to need some of this before we start. All right. Ooh,
are you ready to get into it?
Let's do this.
Yeah, mine's very spicy as well. All right. Attack of the Killed Tomatoes, 1978. Movie starts. Karen, we have words to read.
That's what I said. Words about Alfred Hitchcock. Greg has this.
Yes, Greg has this. So it says, Karen, in 1963, Alfred Hitchcock made a motion picture entitled The Birds, a film which depicted a savage attack upon human beings by flocks of winged creatures. People laughed. In the fall of 1975, 7 million blackbirds invaded the town of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, resisting the best efforts of mankind to dislodge them. No one is laughing now.
So I looked that up. That's true.
Okay.
Hopkinsville is an hour north of Nashville.
Yeah, it's 4 hours southwest of where I am right now at this very moment.
Oh, so did you look it up too?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've been past it, like on the way to Nashville, I guess, I assume.
Well, I did see that they used air cannons and fireworks to try to move the birds along.
Oh, did they?
But didn't work very well. And it's just everything was white.
You know what would work well, Karen?
Well, if you're going to say shooting them, maybe, but there were
12-gauge shotguns.
But there were 7 million of them.
Well, you can take out 20 or 30 with one shot.
It's not going to make a dent in 7 million. I would imagine the car washes were very busy because everything was, covered in white.
Which is blackbirds? What's a blackbird? Did you look that up?
No, I did not.
So they're not crows, right? They're blackbirds.
I think they're more like starlings, but I'm not sure.
It wasn't a murder of 7 million crows, right?
No, that would have been a massive murder. That would have been mass murder.
Okay, so blackbirds are a little different than crows, I guess. Yeah, like an oriole is considered a blackbird. Yeah. And grackles. That's probably what they were.
Grackles.
Fucking
Okay.
grackles.
Yeah.
So not crows.
No, I think they were smaller.
Like grackles. Next, we see on the screen, it says present day, which is 1977. Karen.
Oh, it looks 1977 too.
We see a lady washing dishes, and she looked kind of familiar to me for some reason. I don't know who she was. I don't think she's credited or anything, but she's washing the dishes, and a tomato is about to go into the garbage disposal, Karen.
A whole tomato. Yes.
A whole tomato. And it jumps out and attacks the woman. Next, we have credits.
Yeah, they make some sort of like gibberish sound. Well, how would you describe it?
Stupid.
Well, yes. But like
it's not like
Yes,
Jawas.
but higher pitched than that. But yes. It rolls around the sink and then hops out of the sink and goes towards her. She screams.
Obviously
and
filmed in reverse and
yeah.
shown. Yeah. Shown in reverse, I guess, is what they're doing. Yeah. Filmed and then shown in reverse going in there. They do that a lot in this film, by the way. So after the credits, we hear.
Wait, you're not going to mention that theme song, that catchy tune?
No, Karen, I'm not.
Oh.
You can if you
that
like.
That was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Okay, are you going to talk about every song they sing and stuff?
No, just that one. I thought it was rather catchy.
I had heard it before. That's the only thing in this film I already knew was the theme song.
I liked it.
Did you? Should I get you the soundtrack here?
It's stuck in my head.
Not me. So next, after the credits, we hear like a police radio. And there was all kinds of like stupid shit in the credits too, right? Like jokes. And did you read them?
No.
Yeah, there was stupid shit in there. Like jokes and parody.
I was singing along to the song.
Of course you were. Yeah. So after the credits, we hear a police radio and they say, 1 Adam 12, see the woman. Do you remember the TV show 1 Adam 12, Karen?
No, but I recognize it.
You don't remember it?
Nope.
You never watched 1 Adam 12?
Nope.
So it was a TV series that ran from 1968 to 1975. I watched it regularly, I believe. From what I can remember, I was such a little tiny baby.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how you remember it.
Some things just stick with you, Karen. You know what I mean? And next we see the police investigating the death of the lady. She's laying there in her kitchen. And they see some red liquid and they think it's blood. But it's not blood, Karen. It's tomato juice.
Yep.
And next we hear news reports of this year's crop of tomatoes growing wildly.
Yeah, the radio's on in the kitchen, I think. Isn't that where it's from?
I don't know. Well, they cut to different scenes, different people. I don't know. I didn't make a note of everything they did because it was fucking stupid. The next thing I have is that we're at the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
You skipped the whole breakfast?
Yes, I did.
There's an old couple, or no.
I know the guy dies from drinking tomato juice. I know that.
They're having breakfast in a breakfast nook with Corel dining set. They're both reading the newspaper.
How'd you know it was Corel?
Because I recognized it. And she's smoking and has curlers in her hair.
Yeah,
so breakfast must be
Marlboro.
over, right? Because you smoke when the meal's over. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what you do.
See, so breakfast was over. And you hear this guy, he doesn't say anything. You hear him mentally thinking, this sure doesn't taste like tomato juice. And then he falls over dead. And the wife doesn't notice. And then they cut to an older husband and wife. He's reading Field and Stream and she's crocheting. Definitely in a 70s house. I bet they have shag carpeting.
Well, yeah. All the carpeting in this movie is shag.
And they just watch a tomato eat little Timmy. And then the tomato burps. And then you go to the Department of Agriculture. So proceed with experimental fields in it.
So where did you watch this, Karen? We should.
Amazon.
Yes, so did I. It was free on IMDb TV or some shit.
Yeah, but you have to pay. I don't know. That seemed like a
I didn't have to pay for it. I just hit play. It said with ads, but I never saw one ad except for the stupid fucking ads they had in the movie, which were jokes.
Oh, I paid for it.
I didn't.
Because I thought that was a free trial, and then I'd end up paying for it on.
Well, maybe I'll see charges on my credit card. I don't know. But next, we're at the U.S. Department of Agriculture at a fence, and it says GD3 project, no trespassing. Any idea what that means, Karen? Is that like an inside joke that I don't get?
No, I don't. I don't.
I don't know either.
I didn't even write it down.
Next, I have is they're like in a tomato field, right?
Yeah, they're in the
tomato plants.
Yeah.
There's a helicopter.
Yes.
Spinning around, and it crashes impressively.
It does.
It really hit the ground, and its back rotor broke off. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was
the best part of the movie.
I was worried about the dude, right? But they cut it. They cut and went to a explosion. So I assume that the stunt helicopter guy did get it under control and land, but they put in an explosion. But he hit the ground, and he was in trouble. So they kept
filming.
I never heard anything about anybody dying in this film, so I assume nobody did. But it was impressive.
Really did, yes.
And then they talk about there was a kamikaze tomato that jumped up to the helicopter or something.
Yeah, because at first I thought I wrote helicopter crashes for no reason because I didn't see the kamikaze tomato.
I didn't either.
Up there.
But they said there was one.
Yes. I just thought they threw it in there to get a crash.
And next we see police officers shooting tomatoes. There's like a gun battle out in this tomato orchard, right? What are they called? Orchards?
Yeah, they say nothing can stop them. They've tried chemicals, bugs, and bullets. And the president wants a complete investigation.
Yes. Next we see generals having a meeting in a very small room, Karen.
Yes.
And the generals are talking about the experiment. They've been doing an experiment or something on tomatoes.
Well, they wanted, I think, a bigger, healthier tomato.
So this was all man's fault.
Yes, there's a group of generals and 2 scientists.
And there is an Oriental or Asian, I don't know which word's correct, scientist.
I think it's Asian.
His voice is voiced over, which I thought was funny. I did think that was funny. This is one of the few things I thought was funny in this.
He talks like the civilians talk in Godzilla. His lips move and then it's dubbed over.
Yeah, it was fun. It was kind of funny. And then as he's talking about the experiment, whatever, he knocks a photo of the USS Arizona off the wall and into the fish tank, which I thought was kind of funny too. Even though, hundreds of men went down on the Arizona, Karen. That was clever. That's all.
I had a feeling that was what happened, but I didn't put it together.
Do you remember the USS Arizona, Karen?
No, I do not.
It was in Pearl Harbor.
Oh.
Yeah, it was blown to pieces. And you never heard of the Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor?
I've not been there yet.
Okay, well, I have. So it was, I don't know. It was kind of clever. So I guess the president assigns this guy, Mason Dixon.
Well, you're not going to talk about the half man, half robot?
What half man, half robot?
The Japanese doctor has a breakthrough, and he's developed a half man, half robot to destroy the enemy. It's man versus vegetables, but then tomatoes are fruits. And then there's a bunch of racist, homophobic comments.
Yes, there are.
And the meeting breaks up.
I just let that all go.
As they walk down the hall, they pass one lab where one guy's showering outside, which there are showers in labs in case you douse yourself in chemicals.
Yes.
And then in the next lab they pass, there's an explosion.
Yes.
But no shower for him.
Well, there's an eye wash station or something in there.
No, it's a drinking fountain that the guy in front of him's making him wait.
But didn't he want to use it as an eye wash?
Yeah, he does want to use it.
That's the joke.
And then they get into the lab with the man robot, and whose name is Bruce.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember Bruce.
But he can't complete simple tasks. They ask him to run, and
he's half man, half robot, but he's right half robot, left half man. So
he can't do anything.
When he jumps, he jumps way far to the right because his right leg is a robot leg and his left leg is a human leg.
Yeah. So I don't know why they did this. Was a complete waste of time.
It was a complete waste of time.
I didn't get it, but okay. So then, yes, they've hired Mason Dixon with his crew.
Yes, his team, including a disguise expert, a scuba diver, and an Olympic swimmer. And apparently a paratrooper, which we'll see a lot of later.
Yes. But they show the disguise expert, and he's got Groucho Marx glasses on.
An African-American gentleman.
Yes. And then a German swimming expert, because she defected after the Olympics.
Soviet or something. I don't know.
Oh, could be Soviet. Underwater expert who's in swim fins and snorkel. And
yeah, her name is Greta.
Yes. They're not looking like a finely tuned machine of experts.
No, they're just all stupid.
Yes.
Next, we see teenagers on a boat swimming, and tomatoes are floating in the water, Karen.
I think this is where you get to see your bikini girls.
The tomatoes attack. Yes, bikini girls. A couple of them. But it's all cut very quickly. It's all like choppy.
I don't know if they...
But it's a Jaws reference, right?
Oh, is it? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, gotcha. Jaws was out by this time. It's a Jaws parody at this point.
But it was so quick. You couldn't even
really
tell
what
was happening. No.
So I just threw it in there to be a Jaws parody. Whatever. Next, we're at a presidential press conference. And the press secretary, Jim Richardson, is his name. Giving the press conference. And nobody says anything about the tomatoes until a little boy stands up in the back. And I have a question. Yes, a little boy in the back. And he asks what the president is doing about the tomato madness.
Madness or menace? I couldn't remember or couldn't tell.
I said madness.
No, I wrote menace.
And then all the reporters get interested and they all sit down. It's like, yeah, what about that? What about that? And the press secretary says the president is going to do a thorough investigation, Karen, as they all do.
Gives the runaround and says it will never be a problem.
Next, we're in a Senate investigative committee. And I wrote, apparently the mics on their desks in front of them are all props because the sound is fucking terrible. They're obviously not using the mics in front of them because it sounds like it's being recorded from across the room.
I just wrote 5 old white guys in a Senate investigating committee.
That too.
And they're missing a copy of the report.
Next, we cut to a newspaper editor, and he somehow ended up with a copy of the Senate subcommittee's report.
With top secret written across the top.
Yes.
Do you think those reports actually say top secret?
Yeah.
Highly classified?
I bet they do. For eyes only. And I guess the editor calls in like his, I don't know, assistant or something when he's asking for a reporter.
Yeah, and he's a very cranky editor.
And all the investigative reporters are on assignment. But what is she? What is Fairchild? Is she like a gossip columnist or some shit?
I don't remember what they said about her, but she's like lifestyles or something. I don't know. Her name's Lois.
Yeah, Lois Fairchild. She's available. So he says, well, get me Fairchild then. Next, we cut to a motocross race, Karen.
Yeah. Dirt bikers racing, pretty girls, groupies cheering them on. More bikini girls.
And halter tops, yes.
Oh, sorry, halter tops.
You don't wear bikinis to a race, Karen. Come on now.
Well, maybe they just came from the beach. You could wear bikini tops.
I want to be trashy.
Just halter tops.
A guy crashes and is attacked by a tomato.
And the girl sees it.
And screams.
Yes.
Whatever. So next, we cut back to the newspaper room, and the editor is talking to Fairchild, and he gives her the assignment. He does mention she has a nice ass, though.
Yeah, very sexist. He gives her the info.
I've been watching you, and you're doing this good, and you're doing that, and that, and that, and you have a nice ass. And
he says the government's going to try to cover it up.
Next, we see a Department of Agriculture car being covered by tomatoes.
Yeah, it's pummeled. And it crashes. Yeah.
And that's all I have about that, Karen.
That's
Anything
all I
else?
have to. No, I think that's all that happened. And then they moved along. It's very choppy, this film.
Yes,
they
we're
go
back.
from scene very quickly.
Now we're back to Secretary Jim Richardson debriefing the president. And the president has his contact mind maker, who I guess he used during his campaign. Some company called Mind Maker.
I have it as an advertising agency. Helped to win his campaign. Go see Ted Swan.
Ted Swan. Next, we see Mason Dixon.
I knew you were going to skip it. They cut to a grocery store and there's stop action film of customers and a clerk covered in tomatoes. Very briefly. It's like 10 seconds long.
Okay. Lots of stuff in this film I didn't feel like commenting on. Karen.
No, it's just to explain to the listener, it's very choppy and just flies from scene to scene to scene. I mean, there is continuity in some of it, but most of the scenes are ridiculous. And well, all the scenes are ridiculous. What's the word I'm looking for? Periphery, not necessary. Peripheral? I don't know. Too much vodka.
Yes, you have 3 ounces in yours. I only have 1.5 in mine.
I know, you should be embarrassed.
I should put more in mine.
Yeah. I mean, you do you.
All right. Next, we see Dixon talking to an old man. And here's where I made another note. The audio in this film is terrible. It sounds like we're listening to it from across the fucking street because that's where the camera is, right?
He asks if he wants a used crib, the guy. And I was like, is that from Timmy, who got eaten by the tomato earlier? It was weird.
Fairchild comes in and starts like questioning Dixon. But
Yes.
She does have some nice bell-bottom slacks, I wrote, Karen.
Is that her suit? She's wearing a suit, I think.
Yes, with bell-bottom slacks.
Nice.
Did you wear bell-bottom slacks, Karen? Back in
I
the
did
day?
not. I did
Oh
not.
my God, I did. I had some elephant bells. They were awesome.
How old were you? We were a little young
2.
wearing this. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, remember, I wore uniform. So I did not own.
Don't take me there, Karen. Next, we see Dixon.
It's too late. See?
Next, we see Dixon and his special team driving off.
No, you skipped again.
There's stupid shit I don't feel like talking about. Go
I
on.
know, but this was kind of funny. The reporter shows up. She's grilling Dixon, and a man walks by and says, "Hi, Lois," and she says, "Hi, Clark."
Yes.
And the cape's hanging out the back.
Yes. That's fucking stupid.
It is. I thought it was. I kind of laughed at it, and then he flies away. You hear the sound of him flying away, and the old man pointing.
Looks up. Yeah.
All right. Go. Now they're in the car.
Yes, they're in a car, and it says FIA unmarked carpool on the side.
Mm-hmm.
What's FIA? Do you know?
No.
I don't either. All right, so they drop off the scuba diver and the swimmer, and then the paratrooper lands on top of the car, and he tries to kill the driver because it's the master of disguise.
All right, wait. So the car stops, and they drop off Greta, and the master of disguise is dressed as George Washington at that point.
Okay.
They all get back in the car, and they go to the next sector and drop off the underwater guy, scuba diver. And the master of disguise is Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
At that point.
Then the paratrooper lands on the car.
Yes.
And the paratrooper tries to kill the driver because he's dressed as Hitler, right?
The master of disguise is now dressed as Hitler.
Yeah.
So he's trying to kill him.
And then Dixon tells the disguise expert to disguise himself as a tomato and infiltrate their camp.
Yep.
Next, we see the scuba diver in a fountain in some city. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Then it flashes to New York with a scene of San Francisco.
Right. And as it says New York on the screen, but I said it's clearly San Francisco.
Yes.
The picture is, we're seeing San Francisco, but they're saying it's New York.
Yeah, you see the bay and the trolley car.
Yeah. Next, we're at the Mind Maker office. and Ted Swan is talking to Jim Richardson, the press secretary.
I dug his outfit, the white pants and the silky shirt. Do you think it had the pop buttons?
Don't know.
Satin shirt, you know.
But basically, Ted Swan said he's going to spin everything about the attacking tomatoes. And then
That's what Ted Swan does. Yeah.
And then he breaks into song, Karen. You're going to tell us what he says.
No. Nope. Skipped right past that.
Yep,
but I did notice the wood paneling and the plaid chairs.
And the shag carpeting.
Yes. Ted Swan says he helps people make up their minds. He's the mind maker.
He is.
And he will accept this challenge.
Next, I have that we see Dixon and the paratrooper. And the paratrooper is going to make camp at a sidewalk. And Dixon says, no, let's just go to the hotel across the street.
Yes.
And Fairchild is in the hotel lobby, Karen.
Yes, she's somehow knew that Dixon was staying there.
And so Dixon gets he asks if there are any messages for room 401, right? And they say no. So then he goes up to his room, and then Fairchild goes to the front desk and says, can I get a key to room 401? I seem to have lost mine.
And they just give it to her.
Like that works, Karen. Would that work, Karen?
I hope not. But she looks like Pam Dauber. Remember her?
She's not nearly as good looking as Pam Dauber.
No, but she had the same haircut.
She's the poor man's Pam Dauber.
Yes. She had the same haircut, same build. She, but you're right.
She ended up being a college professor. This is her only film, I think. She ended up being a college professor. Anyway,
so she overhears. So now she knows what room they're in.
Yes.
It's 401. That's her being a reporter.
Investigative reporter.
Yes.
So Fairchild goes into the room, and I guess it's nighttime now, right? We do see her sitting in the lobby, and I think the clock says like 11:30 or something, right?
Well, she's waiting, but did you notice the room? It's all green. The walls are green, the furniture's green, the carpet is green, the drapes are green.
As it was, Karen.
He even wore green pajamas. It was amazing. And they had put on the TV news, but Dixon makes him turn it off and says, let's get some sleep. So it is. It's nighttime now. It's night time. You've just listened to half of this week's episode. Are you loving it? If so, can you do us a big favor and leave a review wherever you listen? Reviews help us grow the podcast. We just want to say thanks so much for your support. Now let's get back to the good stuff.
And so Fairchild goes to the room, and she goes in, and she ends up waking up the paratrooper. He turns on the light, and she excuses herself. Something like says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong room, whatever. Next, we cut to the disguise expert in the woods, and he's dressed as a tomato.
And that's it.
That's all I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next, Dixon gets a call in the morning.
Cut. Each of these is ridiculous.
He tells the paratrooper there is tomato activity in Sector 2 and that he should tell.
That's where Greta is.
Yeah. Next, we see as Dixon leaves, people in the lobby reading papers about tomato invasion. Next, we see a boy, Karen, fishing with his dog.
Yeah.
His talking dog.
His dog does talk.
And then he gone.
Well, something rustles in the bushes.
End. Cut.
Yep. Again, okay. Just a boy with his dog, and they're dead.
Military has captured a giant tomato, it appears. They have it chained up, and the doctor is listening to it with a stethoscope, Karen.
Yeah. And one of the soldiers is standing, gun pointed, ready to shoot it. It's in chains.
Yes. Have you ever listened to a tomato, Dr. Karen, with a stethoscope?
I have not.
Okay, but the doctor tells them that it's worse than he thought. This is
very
a cherry
dramatic
tomato.
he's very dramatic. And then you're right. He says it's a cherry tomato. And I wrote, I don't get it. Like, is it I thought maybe it was some drug reference.
No, it
whatever.
means that it's large. They're getting larger.
Yes, I see. It took me a little while. I'm like, I don't get it. But yes.
Well, the next thing we see is a woman in a supermarket parking lot being chased by a giant tomato.
Yes, bigger than her, rolling after her.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. But at first I was like, I don't get it. I thought it was some sort of inside joke.
Next, we see the swimmer Greta eating steroids cereal.
In the woods, yes.
Yes, as you do. And giant tomatoes attack her in the woods.
And she kicks him like kickballs. She fends him off pretty well for a while. She's doing all right.
No, not very long.
Alas,
we cut very quickly.
There are too many.
And we see the paratrooper finding her body.
Everywhere this guy goes, he's dragging his parachute. And so he's dragging it through the woods, cutting through it with a sword, not even a machete, just a sword. And he finds her and he informs her there's tomato activity in her sector. And he salutes and leaves.
He does he completes his mission. That's what Dixon told him to do.
Yep.
Next, we cut back to the Senate subcommittee.
Again, doing nothing.
Yeah, I think, are they all snoring at this point? Yeah. Sleeping?
That's probably the most realistic part of the whole thing.
I don't know. But then we cut and we see on the screen, New York, ? And I can't tell what city it is at this point.
I don't know. Yeah.
But we're back at the mine maker office. And Jim Richardson, the presidential secretary, has come to see how it's going. And I wrote, I think he's wearing a mood ring.
Was it a mood ring or turquoise?
I think it's green. So it's not turquoise, but it's like something like that. But it could easily be confused with a mood ring if you knew what such a thing was. Boys and girls, there were things back in the day called mood rings.
They're still around. I told you I brought one back from a trip. Went with my friend to Savannah and brought one back, and I was showing it to Jack. And I said, see, it's green because I'm happy and not upset. And he goes, well, get mad, because he wanted to see a change.
Mine was always very dark. Like a dark purple.
Stunning information there. But he wanted it to change. He wanted me to get mad.
Don't know what that meant, but yeah.
I think we all know.
Ted Swan shows Jim Richardson, the presidential secretary, a chart comparing tomatoes to nuclear power plants and how tomatoes are so much better.
Yes.
And he also plays him a public service announcement on his portable cassette recorder.
That they spent $1 million on.
Yes.
The Stop Tomatoes program.
Yes. Announcement about deaths by natural causes compared to deaths by tomatoes. You're far more likely to be killed in a tornado than by a tomato, Karen.
Well, what he did was he added all those things together. He said tornadoes and heart attacks and airplane crash. Like, he listed everything together, meaning all of those things. I mean, tomatoes were obviously killing a lot of people at that point.
Okay. Next, we see Mason Dixon.
Well, wait. He says they did come up with the Stop the Tomato program, which were the STP stickers that everyone used to have on their car. They stole that.
Did everyone, Karen? Did everyone really have those on their car?
Well, apparently. I recognize the sticker, but
I did too.
But so they spent $1 million, but all they did was steal the STP stickers.
Yeah.
And then he shows him the ultimate commercial.
Which STP is an oil company, boys and girls.
Yes, that's true. I guess we should explain that.
Or it could mean Stone Temple Pilots,
But not the red sticker with the white.
I don't know.
But he shows him the ultimate commercial where they're sitting in the dark and the film starts and it says, "This is Jesus Christ" for Technitron. And the press secretary is appalled.
Appalled.
It's all like one long bad SNL skit. Right? I mean,
yeah, not during the good years of SNL, right?
No, and they just strung together a bunch of SNL skits together.
Well, anyway, so we see Mason Dixon next, listening to the AM radio in his Rambler, Karen. And we hear news reports about the tomatoes attacking Los Angeles, Boston, Seattle, and Chicago.
Yeah, and each time they list a city, people run across the screen in a panic in front of a brick wall, and then the same people, so they say Seattle and they all run across, and then LA, and the same people just turn around and run the opposite direction, and then New York, and they do the same thing back and forth.
Yeah, it's stupid,
but it's a tomato panic.
Then he drives down an alley, but he is blocked by a tomato
on either end, big ass tomatoes.
Then we cut back to the Senate subcommittee.
This is where they're sleeping.
And they're all sleeping.
Yes.
Next, we're in San Diego. Headquarters, Combined Military Operations, Western United States, I wrote.
Good for you, because I didn't.
And Dixon, we see Dixon, and he's talking to the scientists again. I think they're in a small little tiny room.
They're back in the room.
And Dixon gets a phone call.
Well, wait. This is kind of important. So he's in the alley and he's blocked at both ends by tomatoes, and then they just roll away. So he's telling this in this meeting that he doesn't know what happened. They left him alone. They left. And
was there a song on the radio, Karen?
Yes, there was.
What was it?
What was it called? Young Puberty or something?
Puberty Love.
But he at the time doesn't know why they left.
I didn't catch that was Puberty Love playing at the time.
It's horrible.
But I do mention it later a couple times. So Dixon talking to the scientists. Dixon gets a phone call. That's all I have, Karen.
Yep.
So next we see the paratrooper and Fairchild on payphones in the hotel. Separate payphones. They're both talking to their bosses, right?
Yeah, the
Fairchild
paratrooper
is talking to her editor. The paratrooper is talking to Dixon, right? But Fairchild tells her editor she hasn't seen Dixon, but has been following the paratrooper. And the paratrooper says that he is being followed by a spy. Dixon tells the paratrooper to go to bed and take a nap. And the editor tells Fairchild to use her womanly ways or something like that, right?
He says, basically, you need to go to bed with this guy. And she says, I can't do that. And the editor says, why not? You're a woman. That's the kind of stupid jokes that are in this. And she's wearing sunglasses, to disguise herself.
Yes. So next, Fairchild and the paratrooper have an awkward conversation, I wrote. I didn't even write what they said, but that's what I
just wrote, he leaves, she follows. That's
yes. And then we're outside and a man is trying to shoot Dixon from across the street, and he ends up shooting several pedestrians instead.
He has a terrible shot, so he kills everyone.
Like 3 people die or fall instead of Dixon.
Yes. And
Next,
again, it's choppy. So you went from the 2 on the phone to somebody shooting at Dixon, now back to the room.
Yeah. Next, I have Fairchild goes to the paratrooper's room to try to seduce him, ? But the paratrooper chases after her with his sword and calls her a spy.
They destroy the room, basically.
And Dixon arrives, and we see the Fairchild lady running down the hall in like her slip, right?
Oh, I thought it was a towel. I didn't know.
Her clothes are gone. She's wearing like her slip and whatever. I don't know. I didn't get it. But he arrives and asks the paratrooper if he warned Greta, the Olympic swimmer. Next, we cut to the master of disguise, Karen.
Yes.
Sitting around the campfire with tomatoes, dressed as a tomato. And they're talking about dark meat, breasts, and arms.
Yep. And then it was just weird. And then they cut again.
Yeah, to Army headquarters, Karen. And we've learned that tomatoes are amassing an all-out attack on the nation. Next, we see Dixon and the paratrooper out on the street. And once again, someone takes a shot at Dixon. The trooper chases the shooter, dragging his parachute behind him.
Which is hard to do.
Which he does the whole fucking movie.
He does, but at this point it opens up. A lot of athletes train with open parachutes to really build up their resistance and muscle, and he's running around doing it.
Yes, and I made a note they run over several obstacles, like all the tropes. They run through all the tropes.
I just wrote chase scene.
Next, shooter's on train tracks with his gun pointed at Dixon.
Well, at the paratrooper.
Yeah. And he runs away as an Amtrak train goes by.
Conveniently.
Yes.
Right as he's about to get shot, the train goes by.
And he runs away. The shooter runs away.
Yes. Alongside the train.
Next, we see Dixon talking to the president on the red phone. And the president says the West Coast must make a stand against the tomatoes. Next, we see the master of disguise, Karen, sitting around the campfire again, dressed as a tomato with tomatoes. And he asks for ketchup.
He blew his cover.
Don't.
No more master of disguise.
Yes. Next, we see the major. The guy who kept calling himself Major. Meeting with Dixon and the paratrooper, and they're preparing for battle. And the soldiers break out into song. Karen, anything you have to say about that?
That was just bizarre. Well, the only thing I can say is the main singer's shirt was unbuttoned to his belly button. So that was interesting.
Yes. I think he was trying to be Elvis.
Yeah, I think so too, but it was not good.
Next, we see a montage, I wrote, Karen.
Yes, the montage.
Of soldiers in a city shooting and blowing up tomatoes.
And tomatoes rolling in the streets.
Along with miniatures.
Yes, there were miniatures mixed into the montage.
Next, we cut to a news reporter talking to a woman about her missing husband.
That was terrible. He's torturing her. What if he's laying in a ditch with no legs and calling your name?
Do you think he's dead? Could he be dead?
They do that sometimes, or they used to, not as much anymore.
Next, we learn the military suffered a crushing defeat the night before. I guess we hear that. Mason Dixon is inspecting the damage, and he finds a red liquid, and he follows its trail. He finds a tomato, and it chases after him. It chases him into an apartment building.
I thought at this point he was going to find the wounded tomato and bandage him up and become like
God, like the lion who took the
well, or how you have empathy for your enemy. You know what I mean? Like somehow, but no, that's not what happens. It starts chasing him.
Yeah, into an apartment building. And
up the stairs.
Yes. And it's one of those, another reverse. They filmed it, showed it in reverse. They filmed a tomato bouncing down the stairs and they showed it in reverse. So it looks like it's bouncing up. But Dixon runs into an apartment and the tomato goes in too.
Well, he leaves the door open. And he doesn't close the door behind him.
Right. And Puberty Love is playing on the radio, Karen, because there's a kid in there listening to it. And the tomato leaps at Dixon, but he ducks and it flies through the window.
Did it commit suicide because Puberty Love was on?
Don't know. Next, we see Dixon, and he sees the gunman who was trying to shoot him earlier messing with the engine of his car.
Of Dixon's car.
Yes. Yeah. So he runs after him and chases him in his Rambler, Karen. The gunman is in a TR7, Karen. Remember the TR7?
It looked familiar.
It's not a Chevette or an Escort, that's for sure.
Well, it was for the fancy people.
The Triumph TR7.
Was it a fancy car? Looked kind of fancy.
I don't know.
Not a muscle car, more like a sports car, right?
Right. Yeah. So Dixon chases after him, dragging the paratrooper behind the whole time.
The paratrooper's parachute got caught in the front door when Dixon got in the car. So he's dragging him. The paratrooper now has to run behind the car because the car is moving and his parachute is caught.
Well, he's sliding for a while.
When they're going quicker, yes.
Yes. And I wrote Dixon fires his gun several times at the TR7 ahead of him. So next, both cars have engine trouble, apparently, Karen.
Simultaneously, yes.
And the paratrooper ends up pulling Dixon in his Rambler, all the while chasing the TR7. Finally, Dixon gets out of his car because he can outrun his own car.
Yes. And the TR7's not going very fast.
And chases after the TR7 on foot. And he gets there, but just as he does, he is hit by his own vehicle.
Yes, and they're out of the city.
I thought that was kind of funny too. But
and it looks like it actually does hit him.
It does. Yeah. Yes. Next, we learn we're in an apartment somewhere, or in a room somewhere, and
well, when Dixon wakes up, he's in a chair.
Yes, and Jim Richardson has a gun pulled on him, the press secretary.
Yes. Why didn't he just kill him in the street? He was passed out.
Because that's what you have to do. You have to explain your.
This is like the old Batman's, where you have to tell exactly what's going to happen.
Yes. The press secretary, Jim Richardson, says that he has his own garden of tomatoes. He throws a tomato at Dixon. It's just a regular tomato. It's not a killer tomato.
Yeah, he has a monologue here. He's just talking and talking
about his own garden of tomatoes, and he believes that his tomatoes will win the day because they're delicious.
He implies that he can control the tomatoes somehow too. Not sure how, but the whole time he's talking, Dixon's trying to sneak a gun out of his pocket.
But Dixon doesn't think that Richardson has the guts to shoot him. Press Secretary Richardson said he's never killed a man before. And then there's a knock at the door, Karen, and it's the UPS man
with a delivery.
Yes, I guess he says come in, and UPS guy comes in, and Richardson shoots him.
So now they know.
Yeah,
he can kill a man.
He can kill a man. But just then, Karen, the paratrooper charges in with his sword.
Well, he points the gun at Mason, and Mason Dixon says, "How do you do it?" And right as he says, well, he's going to tell him how he controls the tomatoes. And right then, the paratrooper rushes in and stabs him.
Oh,
so we don't know how he does it.
Didn't catch that at all.
I think you were done by now, I would guess.
Probably. So next we see Dixon, or at least I have next. Dixon's picking up record albums in the room.
Yeah,
I guess he feels like he has to tidy up. I don't know why.
I don't know why they're on the floor. I don't.
Whatever.
Know.
But he picks up an album, Ronnie Desmond, Puberty Love. Do you have any Ronnie Desmond albums, Karen?
No, and it was like cats screeching.
All right, but Dixon tells the paratrooper to round up everyone in the city and meet him at the stadium.
Yeah, anyone that's left.
Next, we cut to the Senate subcommittee again, and they say there's no further action to be taken at this time.
Again, doing nothing.
Whatever. Cut back to the paratrooper leading townspeople to the stadium while we see the army destroying documents, I think is what they're doing.
I think so, yeah.
And the next note I have is the KGB chicken.
Everyone running to the stadium is in costume. They're all different.
They are. Kind of, yeah. But we do see the KGB chicken.
You do, yes.
Which became the San Diego chicken, right? Remember the San Diego chicken?
No.
He's still around, I think.
But he's running in his big floppy feet.
Yeah. He's like the ballpark chicken.
He looks like a ballpark chicken.
You know what I'm talking about, do you, Karen?
No, I have no idea. Is it baseball?
Yes. San Diego chicken? The mascot, San Diego chicken?
I understand it's a mascot.
Okay,
I just
he originated as the KGB chicken. It was like for a radio station.
Oh.
But he became so popular, he became his own thing.
The baseball team stole him away. Lured him away.
He's his own he's his own mascot. He's not anyone's mascot. Yeah, different baseball teams hire him to come in
Oh,
and
different baseball
things. Yeah.
teams. Oh,
Just this guy dressed as a chicken.
awesome.
Oh my God, Karen. Didn't you watch This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen, Karen?
No, I did not.
All right. Our listener knows all about the San Diego chicken, I'm sure. Next, we're at the stadium.
The tomatoes are coming.
Townspeople are all there as the tomatoes attack. And Dixon yells at them to play the record up at the booth or something and tells the townspeople to cover their ears. And Puberty Love plays over the loudspeakers. And the tomatoes retreat, Karen. They run away.
And shrink.
The townspeople chase after them, led by the paratrooper. And they stomp on them in the parking lot. Bunch of little tomatoes, normal sized tomatoes out in the parking lot. And they're just like stomping on them.
Cherry tomatoes. Well,
Green
they're supposed.
tomatoes.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of tomatoes.
Yeah, it was find every tomato you can find in the area.
Next, Dixon hears a woman screaming. He runs and he finds Fairchild, Lois Fairchild, Karen, cornered by a giant tomato wearing earmuffs.
Yes, I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe I was just punchy by the end there.
But Dixon,
so listener, he can't hear Puberty Love because he has earmuffs on, so he's still a big tomato.
Yes. But Dixon pulls a piece of paper from his suit jacket pocket.
Yes.
And what is it, Karen? He holds it up, and it is the sheet music to Puberty Love, and he walks towards the tomato.
So tomato can read, I guess.
Yeah, read music. Yeah, for sure. And tomato shrinks back to normal size. Next, I wrote Lois and Mason have a moment on the baseball field. I kind of thought it was a football field when they were first in the stadium. Now it's a baseball field. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But they break out into song.
They have a love connection.
That's why it's called a musical comedy horror film. I guess because there's 3-4 songs in it.
They sing to each other, and they run. They run towards each other, kind of like a field.
But Mason's voice is a clear voiceover.
I think they both are.
Yeah, and then they switch.
Yes.
At the end,
and she sings the male voiceover part. He's stupid. Mouthing the. Yes, it's very stupid.
Next, we see carrots.
But wait, they run together, and he hops into her arms, which I thought was kind of funny, instead of her into his.
I didn't.
And they walk off into the sunset, literally, with jungle noises going on. They cut from that scene on the field to them walking into the sunset together.
Next, we cut to carrots growing in a garden. And I guess one of the carrots says, "All right, guys, they're gone now." Credits. The end.
Dun, dun, dun. Sequel.
All right, Karen. Anything you were pleasantly surprised by in this film or really enjoyed?
I like the theme song.
Anything else?
Not really. I mean, it reminded me a lot of the movie Airplane.
No, it doesn't.
Because
that's good. That's a good,
Airplane's
funny
good.
movie.
Yes, it's hilarious. I love that.
This is just stupid.
Well, it is stupid, but that's what that's kind of the comedy it's supposed to be.
See, that's the yin and the yang. It's parody done well, and this is parody done bad.
Right. I wouldn't watch it again. I didn't
really. No way I would.
Did you find anything redeeming in it?
I did. I laughed. I did laugh out loud a couple times. Like when the Oriental guy or the Asian scientist was voiced over. I did laugh then. That was kind of funny. And at some other point I did too. I don't know why. I don't know when, but there were a couple moments where I laughed.
There were a couple good jokes.
This is another one of those films that we could do.
Right.
Just give us the script. They spent $100,000 on this film, supposedly, they think.
In 1977?
Yeah.
So what is that now?
Did you look it up? But I could do it. I could do it better for a lot less now. But of course, technology is.
What do you think they made the huge tomatoes out of?
They're paper mache or some shit. They're terrible.
The leaves are just painted on them. It's bad. We could make a parody of this parody now for $100,000. You know, just like we could do Plan 9, we could do this one too for the same amount of money.
$100,000 in 1977, when this was filmed, is equivalent to basically $500,000.
Oh my God.
More or less. If I had $500,000, I can make a movie better than this. I guarantee you.
But if it had to be about Killer Tomatoes, it would still be better than that movie.
I would take the same script and I could do it better.
Right. I agree. I think we could do it. I think it would be easier than doing Plan 9.
It would be. But like I said, technology is advanced.
True. You don't have to pay.
I can edit the audio better than they did with the free software, right?
Right. And you wouldn't have to rent the film cam. You could do it on an iPhone.
Yeah, I could use it with my phone.
Right. But still, we could do it for $100,000 now.
It made $500,000 at the box office.
We wouldn't need $500,000.
It made money, so can't be mad.
Well,
at
I think
that.
Were there sequels? I'm pretty sure there were.
Yeah, it's a whole series of them. It's just whatever. Yeah, we had Return of the Killer Tomatoes in 1988, Killer Tomatoes Strike Back in 1990, and Killer Tomatoes Eat France in 1991.
All by the same people?
Don't know.
Were they milking it?
Don't know. There was a cartoon series too on Fox Kids in 1990.
That's weird. I mean, did they show tomatoes killing people in a cartoon?
It had nothing to do with the movie, apparently.
Oh.
It was based on Return of the Killer Tomatoes, I guess, as opposed to this one. But we don't need to watch it, find out what that one's all about.
No, I think we've had enough.
I've had enough.
Well, I was looking for levity and goofiness, and that's definitely in this. But again, I think I was hoping for something of the airplane variety, and what we got was just pretty much garbage. I just didn't really.
They tried to be Airplane, but they weren't. Well, Airplane wasn't out yet. But.
No, Airplane's later, I think. But still, it has that feel. But like I said, it has the feel of Saturday Night Live skits stitched together.
Yeah, Airplane came out in 1980. It was after this.
I'm sure there's a lot of racist and sexist jokes in Airplane.
Oh, yeah, I know there are.
But it was disappointing all around. I don't even think we have to come up with anything that was specifically disappointing.
Yes.
Unless you have something.
No, well, I did make a note, Karen, that the best thing about this movie is the drink. And I'm not really a great fan of it.
I like the theme song, like I said.
All right, anything you were very disappointed in? Anything that you just absolutely hated?
Not really. I mean, it had sequel potential. I give it that. It had some funny jokes, but it was just like high schoolers wrote it or something. I don't know, and even the editing was terrible and the sound was terrible.
Like I could see myself back in 1978, after I'd smoked some.
But I don't think it would have kept your attention.
Probably not. Probably would have been more entertained.
Well, certainly, but I don't think you would have sat and watched it. I think it would have just.
I don't think so either.
Because it was just
I think
choppy.
I had to change the channel or whatever.
I think this movie could have been 45 minutes long. There were so many scenes that were just not part of the story, like the boy fishing with the dog, the water scene, the Senate subcommittee, even though that was the most accurate part. But,
it was political parody, though.
I know, but
trying to be smart.
Even the whole Mr. Swan didn't need to be in it.
He had a whole musical number, though.
It's true. None of the musical numbers needed to be in it.
That I think they just used that to fill 5 minutes every time one came.
I know, but it was too. I guess in the 70s, movies were this long. It did seem like they were stretching it out, almost like, oh, let's put a scene in here. It's not quite long enough. Oh, let's put another one in. We could add a little more time. I mean, what the boy?
I really wasn't mad at the length, though. I only checked it a couple times, and the first time I checked it, it was half over.
I checked it a lot. I was like, how much longer do I have to watch this? I was disappointed in the whole thing. I thought it would be a lot funnier.
Okay.
Because it's famous,
Yeah,
and
it's supposed to be so bad it's good, but it's not.
I didn't
I
think
don't
so
think so.
either. Maybe it's just not aging well.
Yeah, I don't think it ages well at all. That did occur to me. There's lots of off-color shit that wouldn't fly today,
True, but it was just bad anyway. Even without that, it's just terrible. So I don't really get what people saw in it, because I didn't see. I was more entertained by Plan 9.
Karen, this is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Well, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely
the worst movie I've ever seen. I can tell you, I definitely can tell you that. I asked my wife today, you ever seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? And she thinks she might have. And I was like, well, it's the worst fucking movie I've ever seen.
Wow. Do I win a prize for picking it? That's an honor.
Stupid.
It's definitely the worst movie we've watched by far, I would say. So I'm not recommending you watch it, but I think The Drink is fantastic. I enjoy.
Well, I'm not crazy about The Drink, but yet, like I said, The Drink is the best thing about this film.
You can just listen to the podcast and not watch the movie and get pretty much the same entertainment value from it.
Yeah, we're probably more entertaining.
Maybe.
And we're not really that entertaining. Maybe.
We have our moments, just like this film. We have our moments, but overall, I'm not so sure. But I like The Drink.
Like I said, it's my first Bloody Mary, so I don't know.
It's not as bad as you thought it would be, is it?
I think it's about what I thought it would be.
Oh. Well, you tried it.
Cold tomato soup.
You can say you've had one and you prefer not to have another one. Just like I've seen this movie, I don't think I'm going to watch it again.
Yep. All right. How many cocktails we giving this one, Karen?
Oh,
how many cocktails?
This is a 5-er. This is a 5+.
All right. 5 cocktails. Remember, boys and girls, more cocktails, the worse the film is. That means it took us 5 cocktails to get through it. It was so bad. Correct, Karen?
Yes, you are correct, Greg.
All right. Comments on The Drink? I think we already have commented on it.
Yeah, I think we know I like it and you don't.
All right. I don't think we learned anything today, did we?
We learned about Bloody Marys.
We did.
Yeah.
And Mary Tudor.
And why it's a good hangover cure. And
well, they say the virgin one is a good hangover cure. I would disagree.
You also learned about the birds in the Kentucky, Hopkinsville.
Yes, Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
We learned some history.
That's right. We're all about the learning here.
Yes, we are. The broadening the horizons and the learning.
All right, Karen. Next episode.
It's your choice.
It is my choice. But what are we doing? It is episode 52.
Woohoo!
Our anniversary show.
It's our special
1
Scary
year
Spirits podcast anniversary show.
What are we doing? What's first year anniversary? Is it paper or some shit?
Probably. It is paper, I think.
I have a website saved for this very
Ooh, so exciting.
first year anniversary. Traditional gift is paper. You know what the modern anniversary gift is for the first anniversary, Karen?
Cash dollars. Take off on paper. No,
it is clocks.
I thought clocks were unlucky.
I don't know. That's what it says. Modern gift is clocks.
Interesting.
All right. So what are we going to do to celebrate our 1 year anniversary, Karen?
We're going to do a retrospective.
A retrospective.
We're going to look back on our favorite episodes and entertain the listener with what we think was good, what was bad, what was funny, what was not.
Okay.
You're going to have a musical number, I think.
Am I?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, that's what's on my outline. Is that not the outline you got?
No, it's not mine. Don't remember that. Are we going to have a drink?
Well, that's a good question. Is there a drink for the first anniversary?
Don't
We
know.
talked about champagne. Should we celebrate with champagne? Or should we make our favorite drink from one of the podcasts, since we obviously have all the ingredients. I think we looked it up. I don't think there is a drink. I think we and the listener should just pick our favorite.
Okay.
And like I said, Greg makes them all on YouTube if you need to go back and review. It is a retrospective after all.
Okay. So we're just going to let everyone pick whatever they want.
I think so.
All right.
Whatever it takes to listen to us do a retrospective. You need to add a little more alcohol to do that. You do you.
We're going to talk about favorite films, favorite villains, favorite.
Yeah, just favorite things from the podcast. Well, and least favorite, most favorite. We'll have some clips.
Will we, Karen, have clips?
Yes. Well, if you're not going to do a dance number, then you're going to have to do clips.
Dance? You just said a song.
Oh, did I say
dance?
Yeah, it's a musical number. You got to sing and dance.
No one
I
can
guess
see
I'd
me
be
dance.
the only. I could.
I'm dancing right now.
That would be entertaining.
All right. So that will be next episode. Episode
number 52.
Number 52. Very special anniversary episode of the Scary Spirits podcast.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Why wouldn't it be? We're delightful.
All right, Karen, anyone you need to thank this episode?
As always, I will thank our listeners. We do appreciate you spending time with us.
And as always, I will thank the band Verse 13 for letting us use their music in the podcast. All music in the Scary Spirits podcast is provided by the band Verse 13.
The music does make the podcast better.
Yes, it does, Karen. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.